Jason, what are you working on today?
Today we're working on my truck, 1984 D150. And come over and I'll show you what the problem is. We got an awful lot of play in this steering. If you want to go around in front there and look at the steering shaft. Down in the bottom part. As you can see, this joint is worn out here. It's a known problem on these Dodge trucks. So I'm going to put an upgrade in it. Instead of this old style joint, I'm going to put a universal joint in here. So you want to come over, I'll show you the new part I'm going to be putting in. I just bought it off Amazon. And as you can see, it's got U-joints in it rather than that old style joint. So the first thing I got to do is get the roll pin out on the steering box side. And hopefully this pin will come out. Well, that was easy. So the next thing I got to do is get the bolts out of the rag joint. These are 3/8 bolts. They're 12 point. So to keep the steering wheel straight, I'm going to try to tie it on with the seat belt. So that should keep it straight. So now we got to get the joint off the steering box. Sometimes these can be seized. Some penetrate can help. Or a big pry bar. Here we go. So here's the problem in here. These are old style joints. They're just put together with wedges, and it's typical. These trucks didn't make it 2 years and these shafts went bad. But we're going to upgrade it. So the main difference in insulation, this has a roll pin and this has a set screw. So what you got to do, you got to put this in place, and you have to drill an indent in the steering box shaft, the input shaft of the steering box. So I'll show you why you need an indent. So the set screw can sit in it where it's chamfered. But what you want to do, you want to put the steering shaft in place and use this set screw to mark where you're going to drill an indent in the steering box input shaft. So the next thing we have to do is get this rag joint off and transfer it to the new shaft. The heads of these bolts are 3/8, but they're 12 point. Now we're going to assemble this side of the rag joint before we go over to the truck. An impact comes in really handy for this because it's rubber mounted. And it's really awkward to tighten with a ratchet or a wrench. Now that we got the rag joint installed on the steering shaft, I got to fit the steering shaft on the steering box, make sure everything lines up, mark the output shaft on the steering box, then take all this back off. And I know I said a drill, but I'm going to have to use a Dremel or a grinder. I got to grind the flat spot for that set screw. Now to make sure that all lines up, let's try our bolt. It's up here. Yeah, so that's going to work. Now that we got the steering shaft temporarily in place, we're going to put the set screw in to mark the shaft on the steering box so I can grind the flat spot in it. Just hold your mouth right, you might get this pin in. Set screw. So you want to tighten it good enough so you make a mark in the splines. So I'm not sure if that marked it enough, so I'm going to use some paint and paint it. Because I really want to take this back off and again find the mark. Okay. It's just the tip of a paint marker. Now to drill the flat spot in the steering shaft. That should do it. Now they put the steering shaft back on. For the second time. And we're going to put some Loctite on this. Because we definitely don't want this going undone. And the lock nut. We're going to have to use a wrench on that. Now to tighten up the lock nut. There's not enough room for a socket here. This will work. Here we go. Now let's check out our steering. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. A lot less play in the steering now. Now when I'm turning the steering wheel, the wheels are actually moving. Well, that concludes the steering shaft replacement on my truck. I hope this helps anybody that has a sloppy steering shaft in a first generation Dodge truck or Ram Charger. And until next time, thanks for watching.